Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Fire Away. This week we are talking about the theme friendships. And I am joined by my lovely co-hosts, Rianne and Eva. As always, blessed to be in the studio.
Nice, thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So friendships, let's dive in. you know?
Yeah. I was wondering, what is your key value for friendship? I want to ask, because I think friendship, we all know what it is. We all have friends, but what is the most important thing in friendship for you?
Personally, I would say honesty.
Honesty.
Yeah. I value honesty the most. Because if you're not honest, one thing will develop into another thing. So
Yeah.
if I ask you as a friend, hey, how do you think I'm looking today?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, no, it's all fine, but I'm walking around with
Flattering
some
words, but yeah.
just to protect or be kind or something. I don't think it's gonna last very long because no. So honesty, I would value the most. Yeah.
What about you, Eva?
I agree with honesty. I also feel it's very important for friendship to give energy and not cost any energy. So when I'm with my friends and I hang out at their house and I'm very tired afterwards, I'm like, maybe this is costing me more than it's good for me. So I feel like it's good for friendships to give energy to each other, to feel recharged after you've talked with one another.
Yeah, I
see.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
For you?
I think maybe it's even the opposite of you.
Oh.
I think it's unconditional love. So I think like marriage is maybe the biggest friendship. And I think that's the thing that will stick. It's like the glue.
But is
know?
it truly a
it's-
friendship? Is marriage a friendship, or is
I
it?
think so.
I think it goes way beyond friendship.
I think it's the deepest form of friendship. But I think unconditional love in a friend, that means for me that that you can be yourself, that you can be if you're in like bad mood or something, you can just like be mean or be, just get it out there for a moment, and not that the friend will not be hurt, or that they can see, okay, it doesn't matter, I'm still loving you as a friend, that it's not easily broken. I think that's what I mean with unconditional love.
Despite the circumstance, you're still there.
Yeah.
The friend is willing to listen, to talk
Yeah.
to you, to embrace you.
To embrace a little bit of hardship as well. Not only the fun, not only the sharing good stuff, but also someone to lean on,
Interesting. Okay.
I feel like a good friendship also has room to fight with each other so you can help each other grow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what does that look like in a practical form? Fighting with each other so that you can grow.
I would say maybe it's connected with what you said, like to be honest. If you're looking for an opinion, that you're not just giving the opinion that the person wants to hear, or if I'm bothered by something that you do, that you would say that you would be comfortable to saying that, and that I think, okay, maybe I did something wrong here, that you're just being maybe brutally honest, Dutch honest maybe, sometimes, so that you can build me up to become a better person, and not just to be kind to me and giving me some sweet words.
That don't bring you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. What is the biggest difference then between friendships between men and women? Because I'm the only man here.
Yeah.
I think my perspective on friendship might be different than a female perspective.
So is there anything what we just said that you don't agree with?
No, I agree with everything. Yeah, I would say there has to be space where you can be honest and, like you said, brutally honest.
Yeah.
That it might even hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But if it helps me grow, or because of it, I become a better person,
Yeah.
then that is exactly what a friend should do.
Yeah.
I think more it's more of a like how you talk with each other. That might be
Yeah.
the area where the difference is.
Like the brotherhood or the sisterhood.
Yeah, I don't know. It's if you know what
Girlhood.
the difference is between female and male friendships, drop a comment in the comment section below. But
Is that not something to do with like interests or with character? If as a man you're like to hang out together, going into the woods or going
no,
be a little bit rough on each other.
There's women
or-
that like that too. And in
Yeah.
the same way, there's men who like to talk about books. If that is a female thing, I don't know, but
Yeah, but I don't mean
sitting around the tea and having some cookies with it, talking about some books. I don't know.
yeah, but that's typical stereotyping.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
But
doing.
that's not what I mean. I
Okay.
mean more like the way you hang out or the way that you start a conversation or the way that might be different.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
I
can just
wondering.
like do this with your friends, but if you do that with me, I'm not talking to you anymore. You know?
Oh, okay. So I can be
Yeah.
brutally honest, but physically I cannot be the same.
Yeah,
I cannot do the
because
same as a man.
I don't like that.
Okay, I see. I see.
I
Okay.
don't want to have blue bruises everywhere after I met you, you know? Don't you think that's
It's just how men and women act with each other is different. And I
yeah.
think this is something you can see in a friendship.
Yeah.
A friendship.
Maybe the importance of feelings.
But it,
Talk about that for women is quite
Yeah.
usual. I don't know, do you do that?
yeah, I do that. Yeah,
Talk about your feelings?
yeah, but a completely different way than you do.
Okay.
I feel like also maybe difference is that men are more straight to the point, and women just talk and talk and talk a lot. And then somewhere in there's a point, and we help each other, but we talk a bit more, I think.
Well, I have some friends that can talk and talk and talk
Okay.
before they make a point. So I don't know if there's a difference between men and women.
Could
per
be
se,
character.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Just a train of thought, I was like, what is
Interesting.
the difference? Is
Yeah.
there a difference? And if so, then what?
So do you have a friend that is actually, how do you say that? Fits all of those character traits or those values that we just talked about?
Yeah, I think I do have a friend where I can be completely honest with each other. And also, even if that hurts sometimes, we know where we're coming from and we know we love each other. So sometimes even when we're not too happy with each other, or when she's not too happy with me, I can say, hey, I know what this is about, and I know what's behind all of this, and I love you, so I'm just gonna leave you be, and you will come back when you're ready. And where we feel recharged after we have talked with each other. I feel like, yeah, I have a friendship like that.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah. But I think it's rare. I think it's not something that you have with a lot of people.
Yeah.
If I look at my history of friendships, I would say there's always at least one person that I have this with. But maybe it's me, but those people don't stick around for very long. So maybe I'm like
Why?
not a good friend. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the life changes that you move, or you, like, for example, when I met you, we get married, you start a new life. So you have different interests. You become like you grow up, you become more into the adult I don't know things. So maybe then you're kind of
You drift apart.
split ways. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's natural. What would you say? Do you have the same?
I think, yeah, for sure. When you grow up, you become an adult, interests change, and therefore friendship change. But maybe it's also to do with just the literal seasons of life. That when you're going to school, for example, you will have friends at the same school in your class.
Yeah.
But when school is finished, maybe one or two will stay. You'll stay connected to, but the other ones, you just split.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a very bad thing. I think that's a natural thing.
Yeah.
That along the way, along the seasons of life, you will meet different people, befriend them. And sometimes this can be, a season of a couple of months. And other times it's years.
Yeah.
I have friends that I've known for a very, very long time, but I don't know if I'm very intimate with these friends anymore. It's more, the intimacy has changed. You know, back in the day when I was younger, we were very intimate. We had deep conversations.
Yeah.
We went through life together, through the seasons together. And then along the way, you move apart, the distance becomes longer, less conversation, so less intimacy. So I wouldn't say less friendship, but just different type of friendship.
Yeah. So would you say you have levels in friendship, or you have, how do you say that? Because I think if we look at the Bible and what the Bible tells us about friendship, it's something else than just knowing a person or liking a person. So if we're talking about those key values, like being honest with each other, building each other up, having unconditional love, do you still have those with the people that you befriended back in those days?
Yeah, so that depends on what the definition of friend would be.
Yeah.
Because if I know people, are they my friends?
No, they're acquaintances, right?
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, so that's not. I don't. Who uses that word? No, they're my acquaintance. Everybody says,
We
"Yeah,
don't
it's a friend
really
of mine."
use.
Yeah.
But how close is the
true
friendship? That's what I meant
friendship,
with intimate. You know, how intimate is the friendship? In a marriage, there's the most intimate form of friendship.
Yeah, definitely.
Outside of marriage, looking at, taking for example, men befriending women. Let's say we are married. You are a friend of mine. But how close our friendship will get, there's a limit to it, because you are my wife.
Yeah.
You are my closest friend.
Yeah.
So certain specifics in the friendship we don't talk about.
Yeah.
Because that's none of your business. Or that's none of my business.
Yeah.
Because I have you as a female. Now between men, I think there's a different form of intimacy. And therefore you can, being of the same sex makes that you can talk about certain intimate things with them.
That you understand better than if you talk with me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you know how the male body works and the psychology and all that weird stuff.
Because you have experience in that.
But then again, coming back to the question, which was?
Like if you look at those key values, if you then can call those persons that you had back in the days called your friends, still call a friend.
Yeah, I still call them friends because I don't like the word acquaintance. That it's for me, it's weird to have a friend in a season and then in the next season or the season after,
don't call them your friend anymore.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because you don't speak to them, they're not your friends anymore, and they became acquaintances. No, man, that doesn't work like that. No,
that's weird. Yeah,
they're still my friends. We just don't hang out as much.
Yeah.
If I look at, you were talking about scripture, right? I have the Gospel of John right here. And in the 15th chapter, Jesus actually tells his disciples that they are his friends. He says, you are my friends. If you do whatever I command you, no longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends.
Yeah.
Now, you might wonder, if you hear this on the surface, you say, wait, hold up, what? If you do as I command you, you are my friends? No, in the context, it's about that Jesus is explaining them what the biggest commandment is, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. Now, if you take this into consideration, loving my neighbor as myself, that will actually cause a friendship.
Yeah.
I don't know in which form exactly, but if I pour my love out on you, I will befriend you.
Yeah.
And you and I will become friends.
Yeah.
Because showing it, like you said, the in the beginning, unconditional love. If I have a love for my neighbor, then I will share honestly, open and transparent about what we have and what we don't have, and where I can grow, where the other person can grow.
Yeah. But I think that comes with trust. If you start to love on a person, then you would do that with actions, right? So then if you say something and your actions back those words up, then you build trust. And I think trust is also a very big key value of a friendship. So that being open and transparent is actually possible. Because what we said about intimacy, you don't share all of your, I want to say secrets, but that's not the right word.
You're transparent, but not intimate. It depends on the friendship, how intimate you will get.
So how do you pick, or how do you make a shift in that? Like, I'm able to tell you this story in this kind of depth to your neighbor, or my question is like, how do you know how deep you can go?
In my experience in this is that I'm a guy that I trust people very easily. Or let me put it differently. I give you my trust very easily. It doesn't mean that I trust everybody equally easily, but I give you my trust very easily. In doing so, I just give people a piece of information and see what they do with it. Let's say we meet. I don't know you.
No.
But you're a friend of my wife, so let's hang out, let's talk. I want to check how trustworthy you are, so I'm going to tell you something about my life and then see what you do with the information. If you start sharing this all over the place, then I know, we might have an issue. We might have an issue. And therefore, I share something with you that I don't mind other people knowing. Now, if you handle this correctly and you shown yourself trustworthy, then I know we can go deeper. And this, for me personally, I can go very quickly in this process. Very quickly, I can go very deep.
Have you never been distrust other, like that your loyalty or trust has been
broken
multiple times?
Yeah. And still you do it?
Yeah.
How?
The Lord says, forgive. And he literally says on the cross, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. And this is the thing, that how many times did I mess up? How many times did I tell something of somebody that I was not supposed to tell? Because I did not know what I was doing. We all have to grow.
True.
So have some grace. I think this is also key value in friendship, to have grace.
To have grace, to be forgiven.
And to give forgiveness. Definitely. How about you?
I'm a bit different in that way. I think it's difficult for me to trust a person right away. So it takes a little while, and then after a while, because I always think that maybe it's just in my head, and I'm imagining it being as good as it is. So I always think, okay, I love this person, but they probably don't love me as much as I love them. So let's pump the brakes and hold up and be calm
so
about
you're a
this.
bit skeptic about their love for you.
So then when I start realizing, oh no, this truly goes both ways, and this is the same on either side, then I start sharing things and get to a point where I start sharing more. So how do you find out
that it's the same on either side?
Just time, I think.
How long are we talking about?
I don't know, but I don't know if there's a specific time frame in which that happens. I think it's also when I feel the same amount of effort. If someone I'm calling with someone and they say I love you before I say I love you, things like that, then I'm like, oh wait, okay, this goes both ways. So I feel like, yeah, I don't know if there's actually a time frame for it. I feel it differs every friendship.
Depends on the person and the situation. I see.
Mm.
And for you?
I'm thinking about it, but I think I'm maybe in the middle of both of you. Because if I'm excited for this person, I will go all in. But because of doing that, my heart was broken many times. So I can also be hesitated, but that's more, I don't think in my actions, but in how happy I am about this friendship, I think. So I'm like searching for the right balance in that.
Yeah.
If I meet a new friend and I'm excited, then I think, okay, I'm happy about this, but just don't go too quick, you know?
Yeah.
Don't go too quick. And then, I mean, I think I would not share maybe personal things, but first giving just opinions and see how they handle like maybe different opinions, you know, before I share personal stuff.
Yeah, so you're testing them, basically the same.
I think it's also testing, but more in the way of, okay, is it possible to have a different opinion and still be nice to each other, you know?
Yeah.
That you can talk about these things. But I think that's also like a character trait because I like a discussion. So
Yeah, you like a discussion.
so I think if a person is not able to go into a discussion or is not able to say no or like a different opinion to me, then I would quickly overrun a person, and I don't want that in a friendship. So maybe that's why I do that. But I don't do that with an agenda. It's like a natural thing.
So you value equality within a friendship very, very high.
Yeah, I also hear that in your story, like you need to know that it's from both both ways sharing, both ways like loving each other, both ways. Not one person is being overrun by the other. I think that's very important.
How do you know if you are overrunning the other person? Because I assume that if you would overrun me, that I would, I think the natural response is to draw back.
Yeah.
And you don't see me anymore. Does that happen a lot or?
Very much, no. I don't know.
That would be very sad.
I think you will notice, but then I have the option if I'm continuing with the friendship, but then being like more, how to say that? To take it like a flower or something that's delicate, and I have to be more careful with it. But then you will come back to the same talk what we just had about how deep can you go, because if something is very delicate, I don't want to come to you with like my big issues or my challenges, because then I don't know if you can bear that, you know?
Yeah, for all we know, the flower might snap and...
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So then we have, we're back to that question again, like how much do you share? So for a true friendship, like the one that the Bible is describing in Proverbs, for something that will last forever, something that is like iron sharpens iron, or things that people who are coming very close to your heart, like David and Jonathan, for example. Then I'm thinking, okay, that's something that I can have with like one or two people, and with other people I can be more delicate or more easygoing.
Yeah. So the closer the friendship, the let's put it like this: the less people remain.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you see in Jesus' own ministry as well. You know, he has the 72. There's the thousands of people that come to him. Then you have the 72 disciples that he sends out, then the 12, and then the 3, which were his closest friends. Yeah. So it becomes a way smaller group.
Yeah.
And I think in in a person's life. Now, I have not studied this. I have no degree for this, but it's just my basically an assumption. You cannot have very close friendships with more than a couple of people.
No. And I even think that's dangerous if you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Proverbs also tells us to be wise, picking them. And I was reading Psalms this morning, and then David is actually like pouring his heart out in Psalm 55 about a friend that betrayed him, you know? So I think the closer your friends get, the more they know about you.
Yeah.
And if you're then in a situation that is like
They can harm you.
hurt
They
you
can harm
very
you.
badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think therefore the Bible is, and also like I would say the influence that that person has on you is huge, you know.
A close friend.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So if you have like, for example, 10 of those close friends, then all of those people have a big influence on you. But because you are holding so much friendships up, you don't have the equal amount of input in their lives. That's
Yeah,
not,
so they are starting to rule your life. Is that what you're saying? Or
it could be.
you read Psalm 55.
Yeah,
What does it say?
it's very long psalm, and it starts with David pouring his heart out to God. In verse 12, it says, "Now it is not an enemy who insults me, otherwise I could bear it. It's not a fool who raises up against me, otherwise I could hide from him. But it is you, a man who is my peer, my companion and good friend. We used to have close fellowship. We walked with the crowd into the house of God."
So this is a very intimate relationship.
Yeah.
Equal acquaintance, he says. There's this stupid word. An acquaintance.
Fellowship. And then later on, he says, "My friend acts violent," from verse 20. My friend acts violently against those at peace with him. He violates his covenant. So they had a covenant. They made like vows, or they have had each other's back, you know. And then he acted
Deceitful.
against him,
Yeah,
deceitful.
it was.
Yeah.
He betrayed him.
Yeah.
So he writes this whole psalm about it, and if you read it, it's like it's heartbreaking actually.
But I think that's in the name of the game, you know. When we're talking about friendship, we're also talking about betrayal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everybody here can share at least a story of betrayal in
definitely.
friendship,
Yeah.
because that's what humans do. We disappoint.
Yep.
We let down.
Yeah.
And I think a true friendship is able to overcome the disappointment,
Yeah.
to overcome even the betrayal. And this goes far, I know, but I don't. Yeah, you know, maybe you're listening. You're like, "Hey, Robert, you don't know, man, how I was betrayed when X, Y, Z." But I think there's always,
If there's repentance,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, of course, yeah.
If the person wants, feels sorry and he wants to change it, and like can promise you to be better.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case,
That's what I meant with grace, right?
yeah.
We need to be graceful. Give forgiveness.
But also we have to be wise in always giving. Like you can forgive, but it doesn't mean that you have to recover the friendship, or that it even be possible to go back to how it was. If you,
it will take time. That's for sure.
Because
that's for sure.
then we're back to trusting.
Yeah.
And that can, I think, if you mistrust somebody, it like can cut deeply. It's like a wound that needs to be recovered, and how bigger the betrayal, how more time it will cost, probably.
Now let me put this in a scriptural, in biblical position, right? Because God's people, they have betrayed God numerous times.
Yes.
Numerous times. There's a whole Bible books written on the betrayal of God's people to God. Now we, as not being God's people, we have been crafted in, right? The scriptures say. And still we betray God. When we sin, when we mess up, we have betrayed him. Now, looking at what God says about Abraham. This is what James writes in James 2. Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God.
Okay. Yeah.
So you see that through faith, he was made righteous,
Yeah.
and therefore he was called a friend of God.
Yeah.
Us being in a relationship with God, which is only possible through faith,
Yeah.
makes us righteous, and therefore, just like the disciples were friends of Jesus, and Abraham was a friend of God, we are friends of God. And despite that, we still mess up. We still cheat. We still go astray.
Yeah.
And God is always giving grace.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so
It's
pushing
true,
this so
it's
much.
true.
Because I think too many friendships, they break, they end because of the inability to give forgiveness.
Yeah.
To forgive the other person
But
when they are truly sorry.
and also the other side of the story, to say sorry.
Yeah.
Like to ask for forgiveness and to apologize that you were a bad friend or that you did something what was not okay. I think to go, then we're back to the start with being honest.
Owning your mistake, being honest about your mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to continue with the friendship, you need both parts of the story. It's, you can give me forgiveness, but if I don't change and I will keep hurting you, it's very wise of you to stop the friendship.
Yeah.
So, and I think also with Abraham, we see that God was sharing a lot of things with him because he obeyed him and he walked with God. But we see that his nephew, Lot, was not doing that. He was also called a righteous man, but he was living in, he was surrounded by people who were behaving badly against God. And God didn't share the same things with Abraham that he did with Lot. So we can also see that the intimacy that we just talked about, God is also asking from us if he wants to share his intimacy with us, like he did with Abraham, that we have to be connected with him and obeying what you shared from John. We have to obey him because he knows best for us. And
But this brings us also to who do we surround ourselves with? Who are our friends?
Yeah.
Because looking at the example of Lot and Abraham, who are you surrounded with?
Yeah.
Why is God able to have this relationship, a friendship with Abraham and not with Lot?
Yeah.
You know, Lot was surrounded by worldly, sexually oriented, self-fulfilling, lustful people.
Yeah.
No friendship with God. He was righteous, but no friendship.
Yeah.
Abraham was surrounded by God's people.
Yeah.
And despite them being, acting like fools, like we all do, he was able to have a friendship.
Yeah.
So this tells me that it's very important to surround myself with godly people who are oriented towards Jesus Christ, who want to hear from him.
Yes.
And in doing so, my friendship with God will grow.
Yeah.
Through the friendship that I have with those random people. Well, not random people, but with those godly people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like a true friendship always also points each other towards Christ, right? You point each other through struggle, through hardships. You point each other to the word and you say, hey, but look at God. Look at what he says. Look at what the Bible says. You help each other to be more like Jesus.
Yeah. It's to say encouraging words and to cheer each other up.
Yeah.
With the truth.
Yeah, with the truth.
That's when true friendship begins to blossom.
Yeah.
And the flower becomes strong and you can lean on each other.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Nice. I hope everyone has a friend like this or a person that can become a friend like this,
Yeah.
To take some, put some energy in the friendship.
Okay,
and
so
make
how
it
do you
stronger.
build this kind of friendship then?
I think all the things that we already spoke about are ingredients, right? So we started with being honest. So if we share and little bits of us, we can see if people are faithful with what we share.
Yeah.
So that builds trust. And from trust, we can go deeper and we can show our actions. We feel that the love is genuine and that it comes from both sides.
Yeah. It takes effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to put effort into getting to know the other person and actively spending time with them, making plans to actively spend time with them.
Yeah.
So that you get to know each other and you become closer because you live with each other, you share life.
Yeah.
So you just become closer.
Would you say that this is can we call this like the intentional? You have to be intentional in friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And maybe also to speak up those words that you want to have the relationship going somewhere, that you want to invest time, that you want to be there for them. If you speak up those words, then the other person knows. I think that's very important as well, to have good communication and to know the intention of a person.
Yeah, so you see whether or not you're both in the same lane, working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
Within the friendship.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Is there anything else to say about this?
There is many things, because I think friendship is such a big topic that you can put in so many different layers, or there are lots of topics within friendship that we can talk about. But I think for now, we covered the basic, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, in that case...
What about you? You want to say some last words?
No. I think I'll just close it here. I'll say, hey, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoy this podcast, share it with somebody, one of your friends, for example.
Yeah.
Get it out there. Help us to grow the audience a bit. And I pray that you will find a friendship in Jesus Christ, just like we all have. And that you too will be called a friend of God. Because in doing so, you are sure of eternity with him. And what is better than to be eternal with the same friend?
With the best friend you ever had.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just slide in one more.
Okay.
What greater love is there than to give one's life for another, right?
What Jesus actually did for us at the cross.
So that's if we're talking about true friendship, the one who gives their life for the other, that shows there was true friendship.
Yes.
True brotherhood.
But that goes deep.
Yeah. So maybe this in a different episode, who knows. Until then, we'll say thank you for watching and see you in the next episode.
See
Bye-bye.
ya. Bye.